I really like it because it's, as far as like your key commands and all that, there's a lot of crossover between Logic and Pro Tools. Pretty much every command in Pro Tools is going to be the same as it is in Logic, except there's a few differences here and there. But for the most part, everything's kind of the same. You know, like D's going to do your fades at the beginning. G's going to do your fades at the end. T and R do your zoom stuff. So I mean, it's like Pro Tools in every way, except it's like also using, what is it called from Pro Tools that they use? I think it's called Heat or something like that.
Yeah. I had somebody recently talk about it, Mike Pepe.
Oh yeah,
he was telling me it sounds great.
So yeah, like it's kind of like that, except I feel like you're not having to pay like for all of that the HD rigs and all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah. The Avid payment plan is not easy. I know that.
Definitely not.
That's why I don't do it.
It can still kind of like get up there, because I mean, whenever they were starting out with I guess is their console stuff, because you can kind of like change like the summing and like the different console stuff. But it's like, I mean, it's $600 for to get like the API console thing, and it just, I mean, it's the API plugins from UAD, but you know, it works in Luna, and it has all the, okay, so like, you know how like Pro Tools, like your inserts would just be like, they're like right there. Well, instead of like your inserts, you have like that whole strip of, it just looks like an API strip. So if you
it's more like mixing on a desk, you know?
Yeah, like if you come from that
DOM.
world, it's like it feels a lot more natural than clicking around. I mean, that's part of the whole reason that I like have so many controllers and stuff like that, just because I like being able to like touch it, and I feel like I move a lot faster with it, because it's like I can be doing something on this controller, and then over here I can be like changing something on the EQ, and it's just a much faster way to work for myself.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old school approach.
Old school, but I don't have to like have however many 120 channels of taking up my whole room and eating up my power bill. It's just I can just flip over. So I mean, it's faster in some ways.
Yeah, but getting the best of both worlds. It has the automation. I remember like hearing that the automation was a little quirky because you couldn't actually see like what the amounts you were moving were. Have they fixed that? Have they made that up to snuff?
It got a little bit worse. I'm not gonna lie. So before, like you could like select a little region and then like lower it, but lately like it doesn't even seem like you can do that anymore. And because like it either changes the whole thing or it doesn't. And I'm not entirely too sure what exactly got changed on that. But if someone from UA, if y'all see this, let me know.
Oh my gosh. Are you doing a lot of automation, or are you kind of like,
if I do
mixing
automation,
with enough compression?
I do. I'll like latch it on my controller, and so it's latching. It works, but it's like doing it with the way that I learned how to do it on here it doesn't work anymore. So I'm having to kind of like unlearn that.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Can you at least clip gain?
Oh yeah. So like the way that it works is like you kind of like split up your audio, you know, like you do your edits or whatever, and each little like section kind of has like its own little fader, and that's like your gain on that. And then also you can kind of change the like the pitch of that file or that little audio clip. So like if you wanted to like pitch this one word like way down, you could do it right there, and you don't have to like pull up an extra plugin or anything.
That's amazing.
It automatically saves everything. So like I hate Pro Tools now because I always have to remember to save. I'm just like,
oh, what, you still have to do that with Logic? You don't have to do any. It automatically saves everything.
I think you can set it up to save in Pro Tools, but I don't think it
doesn't default.
I don't think it defaults like that. You have to. You always have to like go in and like poke something, and like I don't know. In Luna, all of it just kind of makes sense. Like
nice. So I guess people of the world, check out Luna. I guess give it another shot. Is it still free if you buy like an Apollo, or is it?
Oh yeah, it's still free. It's free, but they kind of get you on like the plugins and stuff like that. But
that's how UAD gets you.
Yeah.
I actually have 0 UAD plugins, so I don't have any satellites or interfaces. I'm an RME guy. for now at least.
I got kind of. I
But
feel like I got kind of stuck in this ecosystem.
yeah, Apple, UAD, they just get you, man.
Yeah, like I've honestly I've just been kind of stuck in this ecosystem. Like I'm cool with it, but at the same time, it's like if I had to like redo it, you know, like I probably wouldn't absolutely go this route. Like if I had to like, God forbid, there's like a house fire or something, and like I have to like buy a new computer and start over, you know, like I'd probably do like a Windows machine and get like Harrison Mixbus or something, you know, give that a shot. Like, cause I mean, they're all kind of doing the same thing at the end of the day.
Totally. But apparently those plugins sound amazing. So I don't know. Who am I to?
They do sound really good, but I mean, there's still records made every day that aren't using any UAD at all. So I mean, like it's good, but it's like, you know, at a certain point, it's kind of diminishing returns.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to. Everybody has the same plugins. You got to just do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's been one of like the biggest lessons I've learned over, you know, doing this podcast. Is you just got to double down on what you do on yourself. You know, because otherwise, you know, that's the only way you're going to differentiate yourself at the end of the day, and you know, leave a mark.
It's so like no one like looks up specifically like the studio. Like they're always kind of like looking for the person,
right?
And that's how you like your personality is going to be like what attracts people, not so much the fact that you're a studio.
Yeah. Yes, I for such a long time I was marketing myself as a studio when it was just me. It's like, dude, no, it's just Ben Wallach. Like, stop, you know, saying this is, you know, the studio. No, it's just you. Like, get over yourself. Slash, it is you. So I guess double down on yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like, you know, I guess the kind of the aspect of like marketability and all that, because like online I don't really market myself as like Thomas Weathers, because it's a hard name to remember. Like it's not something that you can easily think about, but Tommy you can remember, and I guess Decibel, like it kind of says what I do, like I'm just loud. And yeah, that's why I did it like that.
Yeah, so it's still you, but it's got like a branded you.
Yeah, I'm still trying to see how it's going to play out in the end, but you know, just trying different things, like because that's me.
We're all just trying different things till it works, right? Like, tell me about like staying fresh and creative in the studio. Like, I know we all kind of go through periods where we're more inspired and periods where we're less inspired. How do you stay inspired when you're, you know, in a slump, or do you have any routines that kind of keep you in check?
I do a lot of outdoor stuff. I skate a lot, a lot. I skate maybe like 7 hours, or not 7 hours, roughly 7 miles a day. Just
oh my gosh,
bombing hills and stuff like that. We do a lot of hiking.
What was that Fleetwood Mac TikTok video? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Sort of, but like I bomb it. I bomb hills. Like I just go down hills. I like to go fast.
Dude, I'm a skier, so
yeah.
I mean, I haven't skied in years now, but thanks to the pandemic and just being in Israel, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty interested in, because I haven't never snowboarded, and so I live in Colorado now, and it seems like a perfect time to learn that.
If you're into skateboarding, I think you'd probably enjoy snowboarding.
Yeah, a lot. And
that's like basic logic, you know.
Yeah, we do a lot of hiking too, and yeah, like I feel like the nature stuff is very important for like helping me like pull myself out of the studio and get some kind of like inspiration going or something.
The other guy I interviewed in Colorado, Taylor Hahn, was telling me he goes golfing as much as he can. He gets out of the studio, goes doing nature stuff. I don't know if golfing is nature, but just getting outside, you know, just like really like maybe it's the part of the culture there. I don't know.
I think it is, honestly. Yeah, I wouldn't move to Colorado if I was not an outdoor person. If I was just like, I just want to stay inside all day, yeah, I wouldn't probably do that.
Amazing. Do you have any other routines or anything else you do?
I do some meditation. At one point, I did struggle more with staying creative and whatnot. But one of the important things that I kind of found for myself was just to kind of like switch it up as much as I can. So like sometimes that would mean like I'm just working with artists, and then like maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm just doing this business to business thing I'd worked out with this company. Like I just like to keep it fresh so I can kind of like have new problems to solve. Like I don't want to solve the same problems every day, just because that's not very fulfilling for myself.
Yeah. one of the things I found when, like I was thinking of like, oh, I really want to niche into mixing, and I kind of realized like I need a little bit of that production thing to kind of keep me in check and keep that creative part of my brain open, even though it's a lot harder to kind of segment, right? Like you need a little bit of that in your life to kind of, or I felt I needed a little bit of that in my life to kind of stay creative and get inspired and do different things. Because like, even if I like mixing more overall than producing, like it doesn't, only that is not enough to kind of keep you inspired, and at least for me,
That and like a big thing is going to be like managing your energy. Like if I got to do something like super creative, like I got to like actually produce a record that day, I probably am not going to go skate that morning just because I do a lot of creative things when I'm like skating, and like not only do I feel like more like mentally tired after the session, but I also feel like creatively tired. And so like there's a good bit of planning for that, where it's like just being aware of how much energy you're going to need for certain parts of your day, and like how to like manage that a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. Can you touch on like remote work? Because I know you're doing a lot of mixing remotely. Do you have any practices to kind of keep everything flowing good with the the artists that you're working with, and any advice to kind of keep remote work happening?
I think with remote work, it's going to definitely be having some kind of social media presence, or like some kind of like just online presence somewhere, whether that's like TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. It could even just be your website. But, if you're going to be in music, there's a good chance you're going to have to make some kind of content at some point in time. And I think it's important to find that content that doesn't suck your soul out, really. Because like I try to do video and like it's just like I felt so exhausted from like just doing all of it all the time. Like it's just, for me, it felt impossible to keep up with that kind of stuff. But I can definitely do like writing and all that kind of like, here's my opinion on this kind of thing and all that.
Blogging.
Yeah, it's basically blogging, writing articles. That's what I find works for myself, really. Just to kind of like have my name out there and people at least know who I am. And
yeah. Do you think that's been a big part of like how you've been able to stay busy and people find out about you?
Yeah, I mean, because like your digital footprint's like there, because it's like all you really got to do is a search for it, and you'll find it. And eventually, like, someone might see your name like one time, but it's like if they keep on seeing your name, they're like, oh, it's that one dude. And you're like, oh yeah, it's a slow burn. It's not going to be something that just happens
it's not
overnight
success.
Not at all,
for sure.
Because there will definitely be a few months whenever you start out where it's just like it just feels like it's dragging.
Dude, it took me like over a year to get kind of momentum on my podcast, and I'm like over 2 years in, and there's still a lot of momentum to be had. So I definitely know that it's a long haul, but it's good. It's good to do stuff. It's good to put things out. Otherwise, nobody knows about you, like you said.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a trademark sound, or something that you do that makes you stand out of the crowd in terms of like your sonics?
I feel like I have a very like pop approach to hip hop and even like EDM and stuff like that, just because I feel like I try to strike a balance where it's like polished but not too polished, just because there's people that want more like, okay, and I'm going to say this and it's going to sound really weird, but like there's such a thing as it being too polished and it sounds fake to a certain extent. There's people that don't want all the fakeness. They want, they still want little mess ups here and there. So it's like finding like acceptable ways to kind of show the noise.
Could you give an example?
So a lot of times like they'll, like an artist or something, if they want to just like do like a quick little thing, like in the song, like last minute, they'll record something on their phone and they'll shoot it over, and it's going to sound like a phone recording, but you can always kind of like overdrive it, maybe add some auto tune or something to it, kind of make it a little bit different, but you're still going to hear like that it's a phone recording.
It's not high fidelity.
Yeah. And so you just kind of have to lean in more into like the lo-fi, so to speak. And I think it would just be like polished lo-fi, I guess.
Amazing. Well, let's have a listen. You sent me a song for the Sauce segment called Favorite Song by J. Ro. So let's have a listen for about 90 seconds, and we'll talk about